welcome back to Cidery from Scratch. We are the YouTube channel that is going to outline how we open up our own cidery.
And today's topic is about why a cidery and why we chose that option.
So like David mentioned, as we were talking about opening up our own business, we had a lot of options out there. We could have done a brewery, a distillery, maybe a restaurant. And so we want to take the next few minutes talking about why we specifically chose cider. The first reason is we want to open up our cidery in northern Michigan. And we know from visiting that area that cider is on the rise. There are a ton of people up there and a lot of demand for cider, and that business is just expanding. The market is a little bit less saturated than like a craft brewery, but we know even up here there are some growers of cider apples that are struggling to keep up with the demand. So we just knew it was a good place to kind of put our feet in the water and start our own business. The other thing too is that with cider, there's a lot less waste than beer, for example. So the process in making cider takes very few ingredients, and there's a lot less byproduct at the end. So in a few episodes here, we're going to talk about, the process and the terminology and all that kind of stuff. But for this episode, we just are trying to say that there's a lot less byproduct and a lot less things we have to throw away with the process of making cider. There's really only a few things that you need. You just need juice and yeast and tannins and some sort of sugar. But like I said, we're going to go into that in a different episode. But really, to make cider, the biggest thing that you need is juice and yeast. And you can almost make a great cider just with those two things. Another reason we wanted to do cider is there's just a huge variety of apples. So in our research, we found there's over 300 varieties of cider apples. And so with that variety alone, there's a lot of wiggle room to play with, the kind of cider that we want to make and to kind of change it to the taste that we want. So in the last few weeks, with visiting other ciders, I've had cider that has had lavender in it. We've had extra hops to make it more like hoppy IPA beer type flavor. And then up here in northern Michigan, cherry is a really big thing. Traverse City is the cherry capital of the world. So a lot of ciders are now being back sweetened with cherry. So those are a few of the reasons why we wanted to do a cidery and produce cider instead of a few of the other options that we had. And then David is going to share a little bit about the history of apples.
Absolutely. So apples have been around for a significant amount of time, dating back to as early as 6500 BC. But my particular favorite story stems from the research over the last few months, has to deal with John Chapman, also known as Johnny Appleseed. His adventures first began in 1792 when he became an American pioneer, some might even say a hero, traveling over to the Americas and identifying he wanted to make sure no one would go hungry. And knowing apples can be used for a variety of reasons, anything stemming from to cook with, to eat straight off the tree, to store for significant amounts of time, as long as it's in a dry, cool environment, they can stay for up to 6 months. And last but not least, drinking them. And that's one of the things we're doing with the apples. On top of that, Johnny Appleseed saw all these plots of land traveling out west as he ventured further into the Americas, and he decided to plant tons and tons of apple trees, both to claim the property and two, to make sure that there were trees there that incoming people could use to survive off of as they came and set up establishments in the United States.
So with that, you can see some of the reasons why we decided to open up a cidery. So we want to thank you guys for tuning in and taking the time to listen to us today. So just remember, if you have a question, please comment, and then always like and subscribe and share with anybody that you think would find this interesting. But thank you guys so much for tuning in.
See you next time, and remember to always follow your dreams. Thank you.